ducky making of BrainsWork! Part 8, Reason and Logic, or the Spock Holmes Dream Team. Welcome back to the Metaphysical Map. The next step on the map is reason/logic. Reason seeks to find a basis on which to accept or reject perceptions and ideas. Logic finds a way to explain the truth in coherent and consistent ways using data and models. Whew, it's a mouthful. What does it mean? Well, experience meets brains. Reason. Logic. Haha! Here's what Wikipedia says. The fountain of knowledge that is Wikipedia. Reason is the capacity for consciously making sense of things, applying logic, establishing and verifying facts, and changing or justifying practices, institutions, and beliefs based on new or existing information. And according to Mr. Spock from Star Trek IV: The Undiscovered Country, logic is the beginning of wisdom, not the end. Well said, Spock. Science! What it is good for? Quite a lot of things, actually. Science is like this. Observations lead to questions asked. Tests are designed to control variables, and observations of those tests are used to answer questions. Science is used to establish cause and effect, to define things according to their differences and similarities, and make predictions based on prior experience. Science! Science uses logic. If we observe B causing A 1,000 times, then we have good cause to believe that in the future, if B, then we can expect A. It is logical that B causes A. So we put a rubber duck into a bathtub 1,000 times, and it floats 1,000 times. Then it seems logical to expect the duck to continue floating the next time it is put in a bathtub. Patterns of observation are expected to continue. Effects are expected when their causes are observed. Logical fallacies are avoided. What are logical fallacies? Well, let's take a look at a few examples. The false dilemma. Two opposing views are given when there are more options. Example? You either believe in evolution, or climate change, or whatever, or you hate science. Yeah, there's probably a third option there. Fallacy of composition. Because the parts have a certain trait, the whole must share that trait. Example? A 747 airplane is made out of 1,000,000 parts, and no part of a 747 can fly. So that proves that no 747 can fly. Genetic fallacy. If we know where or why the belief originated, we can dismiss it as false. You only believe that the Earth is round because you were taught that as a child. The straw man fallacy, presenting a false version of an idea when intending to debunk it. For example, that idea is so dumb that only a scarecrow would believe it. If I only had a brain. Actually, my example is not an example of the straw man fallacy. The straw man fallacy is actually presenting a false version of a viewpoint, so you can more easily discredit the false version. So my example above is a straw man version of the straw man argument. Strawception. Mind blown. If you only had a brain, it would have just been blown. Here's an actual example of a straw man argument. Creationists just say God must have done it, and then they reject all of modern science. I get that one all the time. Ad hominem. Attacking the person who believes an idea instead of the idea itself. It's just name calling. You're anti-science or delusional or racist or short, ugly or smelly or whatever. It's literally just name calling. The Texas sharpshooter fallacy. Cherry picking the data that serves your cause or belief. If you ignore all of the evidence to the contrary, then all of the data supports my view. No true Scotsman fallacy. You redefine your terms to agree with the assumptions of your conclusion, such as, no real scientist rejects evolution. Haha, that's not true at all. And the false cause, assuming that because two things happen together, one must cause the other. Hey, Trump got elected, and then 2 hurricanes hit the United States. I'm just saying, maybe Trump controls the weather. There are 3 reasons that anybody believes anything. First, intellectual. There is logical reason for thinking it to be true based on the data, observation, trustworthy authority, etc. Number 2, emotional. It feels right. The opposite feels bad, or the idea is associated with some pleasure or pain. Third, volitional, or the will. You want it to be true, so you choose to believe it. Who cares about that? Don't confuse me with facts. I know what I believe, and I don't need to know why. When we say reason, we usually mean intellectual reason. But for any particular person on any particular issue, there probably is some combination of these. Reason and logic are ways of processing the experience and discovering what about it is true. But since logical fallacies exist, and because there are forms of reason which are not intellectual, people can choose to believe in things which are not true, even if their perceptions are accurate. These will be greatly colored by your worldview. Many worldviews depend heavily on logical fallacies. These then trap people into a worldview experience loop wherein they use logical fallacies demanded by their worldview to interpret their experiences, which will then be used to reinforce their worldview. Here again is the worldview experience loop. You have rose-colored glasses, or a rose-colored worldview. You look at the rubber duck, you experience a rose-colored world, and you see that the rubber duck is rose-colored. This makes you believe that the ducky is rose-colored. After all, seeing is believing. This reinforces your belief that the rose-colored glasses help you see the world correctly. After all, without them the duck would look yellow, but you know from experience, from seeing, that he is rose-colored. Alright kids, here's your homework. Learn to think, and learn to think biblically, especially you, Christian Church. The Bible tells you to love the Lord your God with all of your mind and be transformed by the renewal of your mind, so if you're trying to live the Christian life without your brain, you're doing it wrong. Use your brains. And, be introspective. Think about your worldview. Take off your glasses and clean them off. And if they're rose-colored, have a backup pair. I hope you like this bit of orange. Thanks for liking and subscribing. And remember, everyone, Jesus loves you.